What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Charles, owner of mXrevival and mXrevival.com, and it has been a long ass time since I've given you guys a video, and I missed you. I'm gonna get right into it today, guys. As you can see, I have two unreal 2006, the Goodyears RM250s behind me. One of them is a customer full build. It is an RC4 or Ricky Carmichael replica. So honored to be able to do that sort of thing for you guys. Daniel, thank you. We are almost done. Cannot wait to see the look on your face. Your bike is unreal. The other, guys, also a 2006 RM250. It's a giveaway bike. Right now, we are live. If you are watching this, mxrevival.com, you can enter to win this build. Now, if you've been around the MX Revival channel long enough, you already know how these bike builds come out. You can check out some previous videos if you want to see what a $35,000 two-stroke build looks like. We always give them away. So in today's video, I want to check this thing out with you guys, show you what I've done so far, what's yet to come, special companies, special parts, all that sort of thing. And in true MX Revival fashion, just like previous bike builds and giveaways, not only am I giving away a bike, but I'll be giving away MX parts and prizes throughout this build series. So in today's YouTube video, for my comment giveaway, I'm going to be giving one entry away, same as cash for this bike. I'm going to pick my favorite comment in the next YouTube video. I just want you to tell me what your favorite part of today's video was, or if you learned something cool about these old Suzukis. I'm going to show you a few ways to retrofit and bring up to date things like the braking system. Get like a 2024 RMZ system on this thing, for example. So don't forget to leave a comment. Tell me what you learned. Tell me what your favorite part was. And as we go over this bike, you're going to see some things that I think you're going to be like, where can I find that? I need that. Don't worry. I'm going to leave links for everything I talk about in today's video. And I also have some other special dirt bike giveaway news towards the end with our other sister company, MX Skill Shack. So join me now. We're going to check out what's been done. Then we're going to jump into what needs to be done. So we're going to check out the transmission, suspension, some of the murdered out hardware I just did. Let's go check this stuff out on the bench. All right, guys, we are in handheld mode. Let's check this out so far. We're gonna go ahead and come back to this. We're gonna jump over to the bench first. And as a little sneak peek, this is what you can expect. Dan, this is probably your first time seeing this close. So I hope you're excited. I'm so pumped to get this thing back to you. 06 RC4 build. Guys, let's hit the bench. I guess we'll start down here. I have a couple different wheel options for you guys. So as you can see, some of this stuff's used. This is a personal bike. I'm actually in progress of building this for myself, and it just didn't feel right. So I want to build this for you. It always makes me feel so much better to do that. So down here, you guys let me know which wheels you like better. Regardless of which set, we'll have new rotors and everything, new tires. This set is gold hub, silver spoke, gold nipple, gloss black rim. You got some fresh Dunlops on there. 270 mil rotor, regardless of which wheel set you pick. And this other set, pretty much the same thing, except it's got black spokes. So do you like the black spokes better or the silver spokes? For me, I have a lot of black in this chassis. I think I'd lean towards silver spokes on this build, but either set will look good. Just adds a little bit of weight down low. Like the look of the bike kind of looks heavier when you have black spokes. Can't go wrong with either choice. Let's jump into some of this awesome stuff on the bench right now. So we'll start with some things that are already done. Now, here's your braking system. Fully rebuilt, fully vapor blasted. Actually waiting on a rebuild kit for the rear. Got your pistons all shined up. Everything got the 4-stage vapor blast that I think you guys have sort of gotten used to me pulling off on these builds. It never gets old. I love it. But what's really special about this bike, and we'll jump into that in a second, is that all the hardware in this chassis, I murdered it out. Zinc plated black, all this stuff. Even real deep level stuff like this. This is the plunger that goes in the rear master cylinder. So there's going to be touches like that all over the bike. And that segues into this old Bolt motorcycle hardware pack that I reused. Dave doesn't sell these. I think it actually pisses him off when I do this. But I still love you, Dave. And thanks for all your support over all the years. This is all the hardware. Got the swing arm plates in the rear. Zinc those out, brake pedal main pin, all murdered out, everything. Guys, all the little fasteners, you name it, I zinced it. All the radiator hoses, so this is going to be a very unique look. It's something I haven't done on this level all the way yet. Even went kind of nuts. All the steel bits, these are the colors that go in your swing arm for your swing arm bearings, and the spacers that go on the edge. So just stuff you might not even be able to see. It's all refinished, it's all blacked out, and it looks absolutely sick. May as well give you a quick sneak peek, but you can see tank bolts, engine mount bolts, swing arm main pin in there. There's another test piece there. All the shock bolts, subframe bolts. Like I said, engine bolts going through the engine. Got the steel bracket, one of the engine mounts, did that as well. So I'm kind of playing with this and having a lot of fun. It looks awesome against the yellow. We'll come back to the bike in a second. So jumping back into the what's been done so far category, I think this kind of speaks for itself. This is a special upgraded 9mm piston master cylinder from Brembo that will be going on your bike with a steel braided line, of course, and that big old 270 rotor. Already picked you guys up. A brand new Moto Tassinari, I think it's a 4. Is it 3? Yeah, they don't make the 4 for the Suzuki. Reed cage. Anyhow, set that aside. Also already have a brand new Lectron 38 Pro Series. Actually, I take that back. I got about 2 hours on this thing before the bike blew up and I decided to rebuild it for myself. So in that period of time, Lectron also came out with the new accelerator metering rod. Can't see it in there, but it's a pretty trick little piece of hardware that's going in that carburetor. So we'll clean that up, get some OEM hoses on it, make it look factory. Put that accelerator metering rod in there, and I'll show you guys more about what that actually is in an upcoming video. Right now we're just kind of going over the what's already been done, and then we're going to go into the what's yet to be done. So jumping into the what needs to be done, as you guys can see, got some damage on this main flapper valve from the exhaust valve. The piston ring, I think, jumped out of its groove, and I think that was the end of a piston ring right there. Let go. Anyways, this thing blew up, so we'll get to the bike in a second. I'll show you what all that entailed to repair the cylinder, etc. Oh, I missed a what's been done item, although they're not done, so I guess it falls into this category nicely as well. My boy Brett at ICW went ahead and gusseted, seam welded, and caged these OEM radiators. The aftermarket ones always fit like crap on the RM250. They hit the engine, so Brett took care of that. As you can see, some of the fins are just damaged from age, but overall for 06, and these are actually off my 04, they're in pretty dang good shape. So I have a little tool coming so I can straighten out all these bent fins for you guys. Then they're going to go into the vapor blasting cabinet. We'll get some fresh ICW decals on there when we're done. You guys already saw the black radiator hose clamps in the murdered out zinc kit. I think those are going to look really cool with this setup here. Need to go ahead and rebuild all of the linkage, get that casting flash off there, probably use some of Cameron's Prime MX pads, vapor blast that sucker up. Now I had already picked myself up one of my favorite Hygge Performance exhaust cone pipes. You guys know I'm a massive sucker for these. Steve does an amazing job. Had the clear coat. I may refinish this. Really expensive, right? So if I can refinish that, I will. If not, we'll talk to Steve and maybe get a new one. Coming up also, I need to do the suspension. This suspension has, I don't know, 3 hours on it maybe. I just got it sprung and valved for my fat ass, and it works really great. As you can see, I take really great care of it. Keep this stuff vapor blasted. The tops look really good. Those are also vapor blasted. Little sneak peek on the black hardware that's going to be going down on this bike as well. At any rate, these tubes, although they look really good for their age, these are actually my 04 set as well. I think I'm going to get them refinished. Everything still looks really nice, but maybe we'll mix it up for this build because I kind of can't leave it alone, and I kind of can't not go all the way if I'm doing something for you guys. Let's go look at the shock. So same thing with the shock, guys. It's all redone. It only has a couple hours on it. Working great. I never noticed this before, but I've got a little bit of spring rub on the shock body there. So I either need to get this thing replaced or get it refinished. This will probably end up at fast blast and coat. We'll be able to get the compression adjuster assembly out of there, get that vapor blasted, maybe replace it. Everything else is in great shape. So we'll see what we can reuse. I had already vapor blasted that. Like I said, I was going to spruce this thing up, get it to a point where I was happy with it, and just enjoy it for myself. But that's no longer the case. So regardless, suspension will get refinished. That'll be a nice surprise when it's done. Let's go ahead and move on to some of the more obvious, already modified parts here, and some of the not so obvious. The airbox, we'll get into that in just a second. That thing is brand new. I'm going to tell you how you can get one if you need one, because they're hard to find. We'll start with this number plate. This is actually for 2008 through 2017 RM250s, but it's special because it fits the 17 front fender, looks like the 2024 front number plate, but also has the proper bolt hole location. So again, I told you guys earlier, there'll be links below for All this stuff, if I miss one, just ask. Happy to get you one of those, tell you where to find it, whatever it may be. Towards the end of this video, guys, we're also going to talk about what the next video is going to be. We'll probably get into that exhaust valve rebuild. Got some parts coming back from Fast Blast and Coat. More on that in a sec. Now, as you can see, the frame already done. This color is called Suzuki Yellow 2. It's nice and bright. It's really, really close to the plastic. It's going to look killer once it's all done. So if you guys need that powder coating color, Suzuki Yellow 2 from Prismatic Powders. I think it looks pretty badass, especially with the black hardware. More on that here in a little bit too. Some of you know what that is, but some of you do not. Now clearly I've already gone absolutely bananas on the shell of your engine. That is also a 4-stage vapor blast that I just finished up for you. Dean over at Fast Blast also did all these engine covers. This is called concrete. It's Cerakote concrete. So it's a color that I found looks really good on Suzuki's. It's very close to that old gray they used to use. Love it a lot. Maybe a little too obsessed with it. It's kind of disgusting. Also went ahead and vaped your center cases. This is a 2-stage blast. It's a little more dull than this, but it gives it a nice breakaway. And this almost looks unnatural, right? It's like, it shouldn't be that bright. If you're going for like a factory look, maybe it should. I don't know. I really love it. Anyways, we have some contrast here. We'll spin this thing and see if you can even tell the difference. So the cases are a little bit more dull. I think you guys can see that. Regardless, it looks badass. Now back into this cylinder, you guys can probably tell that bore is completely refreshed. This thing had a sleeve in it already, so my only option was to re-sleeve it. Brand new sleeve from LA Sleeve. They did an amazing job and they did it fast. Thanks, boys. I also sent back that bore matched Pro X piston that will be going in there. Got a new rod kit coming. We're going to rebuild the crank, new transmission bearings. Got you guys the Fastway Evo foot pegs. These are massive foot pegs for the RM. It's kind of getting hard to find pegs for these bikes. The only caveat with these is that they are rotated forward about 3 degrees, which I actually enjoy. I can feel the difference, and it does put you in more of an attack position. So check out my guys at Fastway if you need some pegs that'll actually fit your RM250. Now we'll go ahead and move up to the elephant in the room. There's something really OEM about this, right? Like this filter. You don't really see aftermarket filters that look like that because there aren't any. This is a brand new Suzuki airbox. Spanking new OEM part. So they actually include the clamp for the carburetor, the boot. They don't include this wash flap anymore, which I'll show you guys in a second. I have one. I was able to find one in the Netherlands. Full box. They come with the mud flap or shot guard, all the blacked out hardware. That was perfect. They come with this piece of foam right here that seals the rear fender against the airbox. That's so dust doesn't come in. If you guys are ever wondering why your airboxes on your old RMs are so dusty, even after an hour of a ride, this is probably gone. Other than that, new filter. They come with the filter bolt. I got a blacked out one too, so don't worry. And then of course, you know, the foam gasket between the cage, the box and the boot itself is brand new as well. So if you need one of those, there aren't very many left, I don't believe. Also just checked, I can get them for the later RM125s as well. So reach out. Happy to help you with that. All right, so that pretty much rounds up the what's been done already on this build. Again, I mentioned this was gonna be for me. I was gonna build myself the RM of my dreams, but it just didn't feel right, and it doesn't really hit the same for me on a passion level, I guess, where I get really excited unless I'm doing this for you guys. So let's head back to the bench for just a minute before we wrap this thing up. I wanna show you the transmission. I completely overlooked it when we were on the bench a minute ago. I'm gonna show you some of the damage, just the wear and tear that old transmissions get. So it's going to be something I need to replace, and then the tranny is also going off to somewhere very special. All right, so there it is, and for a 2006, it's actually in pretty great condition. I would have to say, though, you know, you use these things, you have a hard shift once in a while, you can kind of see the end of that dog right there. I'm going to set this camera down, and we're going to get into it a little further. They just kind of, they wear, that's what they do. And Suzuki transmissions were never really known for being ultra reliable, although these later years seem to be a lot better than like the 96 through 2000 models. Those were pretty much made of margarine. So we're going to check out some of this damage right now, and I'm going to show you why this is over here on the bench, why this is all bagged up. We're going to talk about where it's going. All right, here we are on the bench. Got some good light. There is some damage right there. So this is probably the worst damage I could find inside this transmission in terms of very obvious. That shouldn't be like that. Got a couple of those dogs. That one's okay. That one's okay. And then these two are smoked. the edge is just completely gone. So that could have been a hard shift every once in a while when I'm doing a hard moto and I'm being lazy. Maybe I hit a jump and try to downshift in the air or upshift, whatever it may be. Don't hit the shifter all the way, let your clutch back out, and you hear this whack, and it's the gears just pulverizing each other because you didn't shift it all the way and it jumps back into the previous gear. Things like that. You guys have maybe had a crunchy shift where you just know next time you drain your oil, you're going to see some stuff in it. So at any rate, we'll have to disassemble this before it goes where it's about to go. More on that in a second. Inspect everything a little bit better and then replace some of these cogs. Also, taking this apart, we'll need to replace some of the circlips. Let's find one. That guy right there that hold all of the gears onto these two shafts because you don't want to reuse those. Anyhow, I also have the rest of the transmission bagged up here. We've got shift forks, shift drum, the pins for the shift fork, gear selector, pizza cutter, basically everything transmission related in this bag. Now the reason this is getting ready to go out is because in addition to these gears becoming harder to find as these bikes get older, you can still get these primary and secondary shafts and most of these cogs, and definitely the OEM crank bearings and transmission bearings, they are getting harder to find. So once this is disassembled, this is all going out to Cryo Heat. Maybe you've heard of it. Basically, Cryo Heat takes these transmissions, old or new. They can actually even do engine cases and other things. More on that later on some other giveaway builds. And they basically get them to a certain temperature depth, negative temperature, I believe it is. Need to learn more about it. This is my first time actually sending one out. They basically treat this thing and harden it immensely so that it becomes very hard and hard to damage as well. So they'll last longer. When they finish that process up, they go ahead and they micro polish everything. So all the gears will be polished, all this stuff will come back polished. It'll look like a mirror, and what that does is it reduces friction, frees up some power, you'll get some smoother shifts, and talking to the owner over at Cryo Heat, they can see a difference on the dyno. So that's pretty amazing. I'm excited to see what that feels like. That's where this is going. That's a wrap on the tranny. Let's go ahead and close this thing out. I want to tell you what's coming next for this build. All right, we know where everything's going. We know where it's been. We know what's next for this thing. I want to show you guys real quick something else special that Tony from Elite Moto Factory and I have been working on together. We started a new company called MX Skill Shack. So it's an mXrevival and Elite Moto Factory sister company. That's actually the shop we built. Some of you guys know, some of you see in the Instagram. Anyways, here's what Tony and I have been working on together for you guys. It's another giveaway bike. This is the 1997 YZ125, and it is moving right along. Everything is being fully rebuilt, fully gone through, just like the old RC4 over here, just like what will happen to the RM250. As mentioned, another bike giveaway, BMW Silver. It's the color of that powder coat, by the way. Got ourselves a modern 2021 rear braking system, so we were able to grind off those stupid loops that would go up to an old school reservoir there. Found a white airbox finally. Got the PC with the stinger. This thing's going to be a work of art, so not going to talk a lot about that in today's video, but if you want to win this thing, it's going to be amazing. We also have a CR250 going down here. This is our 03 CR250 build and another RM250. Once we finish those, that's going to be an 04. So another one of these over at MX Skill Shack. I'll leave some links below. You guys can check that other company out. And we're stoked to show you what we got going on over there. All right, guys, I want to close this one out with some very important information that I haven't told you yet. And that is, normally with these mXrevival bike build and giveaways, anybody in North America through the duration of the build, usually 4 months, can enter. Just whoever wants to enter can, usually make a nice donation. This particular RM250, 350 entry slots, that's it. Once they're gone, they're gone. This thing will probably run out of entry slots before the build is even done. It's a fraction of what normally comes in, so get it while you can. Now that you know that, guys, I want to talk to you about what's next and some upcoming videos together. So as mentioned, we will probably go ahead, not probably, we're going to do it. We're going to go ahead and do an engine rebuild top to bottom. Look at that thing. Holy shit. And do the exhaust valve assembly together. They're a little bit of Rubik's Cube, but they're not too difficult once you know what you're doing. It's kind of fun to put the assembly back in there. Again, we're going to put in transmission bearings. You're going to see that transmission come back from Cryo Heat, the way it looks, the way it's just blinging, man. It's ready to go. Smooth shifts, all that. We're also going to have some parts back from Dean at Fast Blast and Coat. Went with a color I wanted to use on the triple clamps and the swing arm when it was going to be my bike, but I think you'll still like it. It's called Titanium. It's also a Cerakote color. We'll be pressing bearings back in together into that, the linkage, all that stuff. As always, I have more MX parts giveaways. Don't forget to leave me a comment today if you want a free entry, same as cash, to this 06 RM250 build. When we wrap this thing up, it's going to head out to Dirt Bike Magazine for a test ride and a sweet article, a little time capsule for you guys, time capsule for me, where I've been in my lifetime, all that sort of thing. It's a good time. Ready to get down on this for you guys with the build crew as always. So I'm so excited to be back on the grind. Everything's sort of settled down with the shop build and the new company stuff. We got the ball rolling and this makes me feel like me. So guys, thank you for your patience. It's been a long time since I did a video. Like I said, I'm super stoked for you. Can't wait to see who wins this thing. As always, sign up on mxrevival.com. This thing is live. Got some really cool shots of it on the website yesterday. Check out our Instagram if you want to see the more behind the scenes, really kind of up close and personal stuff that happens on the day-to-day here in the shop. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. It doesn't matter how ambitious or excited I am. If I don't have you guys along on the journey with me, it can't happen. Same to my build crew, everyone that helps with parts, pieces, connections to get these things put together. I appreciate all of you. So until next time, and as always, shred safe. I'll see you in the next video. We'll get down on some more cool stuff on this thing.